Hello, friends. Welcome to the Morgan Library Reference Desk's celebration of the founding of our country. It is the 250th anniversary of America's founding, and we here at the Reference Desk at the Julian Hampton Morgan Memorial Library will be reading some of the most famous speeches and letters of some of our founding fathers. In my case, it's going to be Patrick Henry. Patrick Henry was a Virginian. He did not go to college, but taught himself the law, and was considered the most eloquent speaker of his day. He encapsulated in his words the struggle for American independence and liberty in such a way as had not been done before. I'm going to be reading his most famous speech, so-called Liberty or Death speech. Understanding that we have no texts of Patrick Henry's speeches surviving, we're having to go on secondhand remembrances from some people who were there. And with that, I give you the Liberty or Death speech. No man, he said, thought more highly than he did of the patriotism, as well as abilities, of the very worthy gentleman who had just addressed the House. But different men often saw the same subject in different lights, and therefore he hoped it would not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as he did opinions of a character very opposite to theirs, he should speak forth his sentiments freely and without reserve. This, he said, was no time for ceremony. The question before this House was one of awful comment to the country. For his own part, he considered it as nothing less than the question of freedom or slavery, and in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It was only in this way that they could hope to arrive at truth and fulfill the great responsibility which they held to God and their country. Should he keep back his opinions at such a time, through fear of giving offense, he should consider himself as guilty of treason toward his country and of an act of disloyalty toward the majesty of heaven, which he revered above all earthly kings. Mr. President, said he, it is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth, and listen to the song of that siren till she transforms us into beasts. Is this, he asked, the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Were we to be disposed to be the number of these, who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things which so very nearly concern their temporal salvation? For his part, whatever anguish of spirit it might cost, he was willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. He had, he said, but one lamp by which his feet were guided, and that was the lamp of experience. He had no way of judging of the future but by the past, and judging by the past, he wished to know what there had been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years, to justify those hopes with which gentlemen had been pleased to solace themselves and the House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations which cover our waters and darken our land. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array, if its purpose be not to force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call for all this accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir, she has none. They are meant for us. They can be meant for no other. They are sent over to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry have so long been forging. And what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we have been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing. We have held the subject up in every light of which it is capable, but it has all been in vain. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What terms shall we find which have not been already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves longer. Sir, we have done everything that could be done to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves before the throne, and have implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. In vain, after these things, may we indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and for which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that is left us. They tell us, sir, continued Mr. Henry, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by resolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely upon our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemy shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak, if we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations and who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, cried he, with both his arms extended aloft, his brows knit, his every feature marked with the resolute purpose of his soul, and his voice swelled to its boldest note of exclamation, give me liberty, or give me death. Again, those were the words of Patrick Henry in his most famous speech to the 1775 Virginia Convention from the First Congressional Convention. We thank you and hope you enjoy many more of these recordings. I'm Will Byrne, the reference librarian at the Morgan Library. Have a good day.